Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that I I was going to one of my favorite authors, but I think it's probably my favorite author of all time. I mean, my very much like my musical tastes, they span over. I mean, I like some of the basic contemporary authors that pretty much everybody likes. The Stephen Kings and Cormac McCarthy's and people like that I just absolutely love. Cormac McCarthy in particular, I think he's brilliant. And stretching sort of a bit further back, Joseph Conrad, Hearth of Darkness, all right. Edgar Allan Poe could really, really, really give you the creeps. Melville, I like Melville, but he kind of went on a bit. And he's a little bit, Hemingway. I absolutely love Hemingway. He's one of those, but Dickens bores me to tears. He just bores the life out of me, and life is way too short to read Chaucer. If you honestly just try, if it's not the sort of thing you generally do, because I really love Shakespeare. I got a love of Shakespeare when I was at school, but so people said to me, "Oh, you must read Chaucer," but no, thanks. Life's too short. I have tried, and it's no, thank you. I don't need to prove myself enough to read that. But I think possibly my very favourite author of all time is this man here, Douglas Adams, right? And I didn't really come here to talk to you about books today, about literature. I get enough of that doing what I do for a living. I read for a living, particularly fiction, mostly fiction. So when I read for myself, it's mainly non-fiction, but I'll reread Douglas Adams all day long. And he said something that's been on my mind the last couple of weeks. He said this: he'd come up with a set of rules that describe our reactions to technologies. Anything that is in the world when you're born is normal and ordinary, and is just part of the natural part of the way the world works. Sorry, see, took my eyes off the page and that was it. Anything that's invented between when you're 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career in it. Anything invented after you're 35 is against the natural order of things. Now, I make my living, as pretty much everybody does nowadays with different kinds of technology, but I make my living with new things like audiobooks. They're not new by any stretch of the imagination, but they're becoming sort of much more popular now. On hold systems and phone messages and things like that I do, and of course in my spare time, which does net me a little bit of income but not a great deal, I have a YouTube channel that does video games, so usually quite au fait with that. But I've started playing a lot of multiplayer stuff recently that I've been away from for quite some time. So I've been, normally I will sit at my keyboard and write away on my computer, but I've been writing a lot on my phone, and particularly last night I just got into a long conversation with a buddy of mine, and I'm using my phone, you're watching me through my phone, so I can't show you on that, but I've got, look, see, but this is me, right? It's on a phone. Right? And I am always making typos. And when I say always making typos, I mean every other word. I have to go back and do it all over again. And it's like, I've, of course, figured out what the rest of you figured out a long time ago, which is the reason I'm making so many mistakes, is because these smartphone keyboards were designed to be used like this. And it's one of those things I just can't, my 20th century brain can't get. I think it's one of the first major technologies that has really shown me my age. Like my wife is younger than me, and she was, I've been writing since I was a small boy, and of course I used to write on a mechanical typewriter. The last typewriter that I had was an electronic typewriter, and I'm used to typing. But I write an awful lot by hand because I just love the flow of the ink. And I used to use mechanical typewriters when I had one available, but for the most part I would write by hand. My wife has always used typewriters and keyboards. She types ridiculously fast. I type like a man who grew up really not really knowing how to type and making do with it. But if you look at her handwriting, it's almost illegible, whereas mine is much more sort of neat cursive script. So Anyway, I don't know where that was going, but, you know, you've got to talk about something, so that was it.